You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14.
Right now at 7, kids in Columbus dive into the colorful world of tie-dye. Our very own Ty Parks shares their groovy experience.
Also, USD 250 School District serves up some good news for parents and students with the announcement of free meals.
And we're seeing some sunshine return out there. Could that have an impact on storms in the next couple of hours? We'll have those answers for you coming up.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. I'm Elise Snowy.
I'm Chris Warner. It's just after 7 o'clock on this Wednesday, June the 18th. And a very active start to the morning. Things have considerably calmed down. That could change later, but it did not, well, because it didn't do anything yesterday afternoon. It didn't stop kids from having a good time yesterday.
The Columbus Public Library held a groovy day for some area kids.
As KOAM photojournalist Ty Parks shows us, the historic library invited the kids to make tie-dye shirts.
So put a lot on there. You got to put a lot on there.
During the summer, there's a lot of kids that don't have a lot of activities. There are different programs that are available for them, but not all of them can participate. This is free to all of the children in the area. Just give them something to do, and it's something that they can do even after this event. It's a pretty simple process. Once they learn that, it's available to them at all times.
If you don't care if your hands get colored, most people don't seem to care. And I'm probably going to help you because your mom will shoot me if you get this on your...
Lauren, our librarian, she plans all of the activities, and then different people on the board and different community people come and help do the activities. So this was selected by our librarian.
Add some over red next, and then what? Just
add some
purple in it. Okay.
Just to have fun. It's just a fun process, and give them a little color theory. If they get colors mixed together, you know, you have your primary colors, you can make secondary colors and intermediate colors. So it's a learning experience and just learning the process, and again, just to have fun. So if you'll follow the Columbus Public Library on Facebook, there's all kinds of events year-round that the library does here.
An organizer said yesterday's event is just one more way the library tries to bring fun and free events to area kids.
And of course, you know, in today's times, kids, parents are looking for those free events. I know that's what we're looking for sometimes. You get 3 kids, you want them to have something for free. So, and they're great events is the thing, and there's a lot of local great events that are free for kids and for families. Another event was the severe weather we had this morning across the area. Now, it wasn't as bad as what was originally expected,
right?
But we did get some severe weather out there, and we're starting to clear out, and that could have its own implications. We're going to show you the sunshine from our camera downtown Pittsburgh, and we've got the clouds, we've got the sun, and that sunshine, again, there are this is one of those interesting moments where there are so many variables at play with what we're expecting over just the next 4 hours or so, less time than that maybe. There's so many things in play that could change everything I'm about to tell you in a matter of minutes. We're getting the sunshine. If we get enough sunshine, we get enough warmth, that would help with thunderstorm development in the next couple of hours. If the clouds come back, they thicken back up, they start to go away, kind of like what we're seeing in Joplin, 28th and Rangeline. We had sunshine, now not nearly as much. Then that could also play a part in whether or not we have storms in the next couple of hours. And of course, what we had overnight is playing a part as well. Now, the worst of the severe threat, or the severe weather rather, stayed farther south than what was expected. We did get severe storms up to the north, but they kind of cut off right about here for most of us, which also means shower storms outside of that weren't severe. They didn't take a lot of energy to do what they needed to do. So that could also play a role in what's expected. So here's what we're looking at. Skywatch storm trackers, you can see things clearing out. What the expectation has been is that here in the next 7 o'clock, the next hour or two, shower storms should begin developing somewhere north or northeast of Oklahoma City. Then they should begin moving northeast along I-44, which will get to in just a moment. I want to remind you we did have some damage reports. We did have that tornado report as well in northeastern Oklahoma from last night's storms and damage in Tulsa. We're going to go over all that in detail with you in a moment. So as it stands, here's our severe threat for really the mid-morning into the early afternoon. We have an isolated tornado risk, isolated scattered hail risk, and wind risk. Now, yesterday, these scattered hail and wind risks were much further northwest. They've been pushed a little further to the south and east. All of that's part of why the storms, we were expecting more severe weather further north. It didn't happen, so we're going to have to see how this pans out. But here we are at 10 a.m. Storms off to the west begin rolling up the interstate. So from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., it's going to be our best window for those stronger storms at this point along and south of I-44. If they can form, they may not. Some data now is suggesting that the storms we got took enough energy out and we're not going to get enough energy back in, that we may not see more than an isolated shower storm out there. So a lot to keep an eye on, but we still want to watch that window because we're coming in on the storm development. Outside of that, late this evening, isolated shower storm out there. Late this evening, won't be long-lived, not expecting anything severe with that. So we're going to monitor all of it through the morning for you. Warming up though, 65 in Joplin, 67 now in Pittsburgh, and across the area, we are still sitting mid-upper 60s for most of us. Still have some low 60s across the region. Nobody at 70 yet. Highs eventually low 80s, but we may not reach them until the late afternoon, early evening, and we'll watch these scattered thunderstorm chances. On top of that, west winds, by the way, gusting upwards of 25. We're going to talk more about the storms, more about our reports from last night's storms, and the heat that's on the way here in just a few minutes. Elise?
All right, Chris, thanks. Well, Joplin crews respond to a significant gas leak after a construction contractor hit a gas line near the intersection of Chris Lane and Connecticut, just north of 17th Street. Spire gas crews turned off the gas and worked to repair the leak. Joplin police closed Connecticut from 15th to 20th Street as a precaution while firefighters checked natural gas levels in about 100 homes in the area.
So there was gas that was getting its way into the wastewater sewer system, and that was part of the reason why we were checking these houses, was to make sure that natural gas is not leaking through the sewer lines to get into homes.
And one home was evacuated due to gas blowing in through open windows. Those residents have since been cleared to return. Officials report no injuries related to the gas leak. And to be the first to see breaking news, weather, and sports, you can download the KOAM News app. It's available free of charge in the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. Just search for the KOAM News app. Well, if you have a student attending a USD 250 school in Pittsburgh, you won't have to worry about feeding them during school hours. As KOAM's Lonnie Walton reports, a federally funded program will help nourish students' bodies while nourishing their minds.
Having my daughter be at school is very exciting, knowing that I'll get to see her.
Natalie Vanderbilt is a math and reading teacher at Lakeside Elementary in Pittsburgh. Her daughter will be in kindergarten this fall, and one thing she doesn't have to worry about is preparing breakfast before she leaves.
Really excited for my daughter to have an opportunity to know that every day she'll be getting a breakfast and lunch.
And she's not the only one who gets these free meals starting the coming school year. All kids in the district will be eligible to receive free meals on school days. Before, Pacific students had to meet certain criteria to be eligible for free meals. But according to the Director of Nutrition, the new program is here to break stereotypes.
It removes the barriers for food. It doesn't matter what the family income is. They will be able to have a breakfast, a lunch, and a snack.
Warren says she has faith in his program. She says she hears this from the ones who know most, the teachers.
They have seen better behavior. They have seen more participation. They've seen better academic scores. It's just good for everyone.
Most of all, it's going to save parents lots of time and, of course, money.
Knowing that that's not something that we're going to be responsible at home, that I can get her prepared, and that at school, it's another part of the school day. We'll be going to school, get that good meal, and then start the day.
Reporting in Pittsburgh, I'm Lonnie Walton, KOAM News.
The CEP starts this fall, and faculty are currently working on ways to make the process run smoother. And those are our top news stories this half hour. Coming up next, we'll hear how you can prepare your kids for county fair season. Well, this morning we have Will Morris from the Kansas State Research and Extension Office with us this morning to share how 4-H members are preparing for the upcoming fair season. Good morning to you, Will. Happy to have you with us once again this morning. So fair season here right around the corner. Talk to me about how 4-H members are preparing in the process.
Yeah, so this is kind of getting into our crunch time for county fairs and everything. It's going to be a hot, busy season as we approach. But it's also a very exciting time because this is something that youth have been working towards since the beginning of the 4-H year, which was in October.
Wow.
So a lot of prep and time and effort has gone into this. So as they get closer to this time, they're putting the final touches on projects, working with their livestock or whatever area that they are in. They're making sure that those are prepped and ready to go and ready to receive some feedback from the judges that assess them, and also to be put on display for all the community to see.
Absolutely. Talk to me a little bit about kind of that judging process and getting those critiques, especially for, young kids putting themselves out there, putting their hard work out there. Talk to me about why that's so important.
Yeah, so it's one of those things that, even as adults, it's hard to receive feedback from people sometimes, or criticisms and critiques.
Sure.
And so for youth that are 7 to 18, they expose themselves to that. So they go and we have certain areas that are consultative judging, where they will sit in front of a judge who is deemed an expert in whatever project area that is, who will actually talk with them. The kids will explain, this is what I did, here's how I made this project, here's what went into it, and the judge will ask them questions, give them feedback, kind of like an interview process, that way they can kind of, get that full experience.
Absolutely. Talk to me a little bit about some of the upcoming county fairs. If community members want to come out, if families want to, maybe they're interested in 4-H for the next season. Talk to me about how they can get involved.
Yeah, so I would encourage everybody to go check out their local county fairs. So those will typically kick off kind of after the 4th of July and everything. And so there is a lot of effort that goes into putting on a county fair, from the night events where you may have rodeos, demolition derbies, tractor pulls, things like that, to the day events such as the shows and things that they'll be able to see, or just walking around the fairgrounds. So oftentimes when you walk around a fairgrounds, you may see youth carrying an arts and crafts project or leading a goat. And so those kids are 4-H members and sometimes FFA members that have put a lot of work into those projects. So don't be afraid to, ask them questions about it and learn and grow, because that's kind of how you get involved in everything. So just come and check it out, and there really is something that can be for everybody.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for your time this morning. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. It is now 7:17 on this Wednesday morning. Again, Skywatch Storm Tracker has calmed down for the time being. What we're waiting to see is whether or not we're going to get any new storm development off to our south and west. We kind of talked about this earlier, but there are a number of variables in play right now as to whether or not we're going to get additional storms. All right, a lot of the data through really late last night into this morning was pretty consistent about new storms forming this morning and then coming up right almost along I-44. But we're not seeing that happen yet. Now, we had these storms form. They are severe. They're now rolling south of Oklahoma City. But as you can see, they're also continuing to push off to the south and east. They're not turning back northeast. So maybe we'll get lucky and the storm chances we have for this morning won't come to be. We did have some damage reports. We did have a tree down Highway 10 and County Road 652 in Ottawa County. We had some, these are just, the green dots are just severe wind reports. Then we had some damage west of Bartlesville, some hail in northern Washington County, some severe wind gusts in southwestern Montgomery County. Then down to the south, we did have damage in Tulsa. I know they've had some damage down there. Then we had 2 different tornado warnings, only one really in our immediate area. It was this one, and it was radar. It was a radar confirmed tornado. What that means, that fancy thing we show you sometimes, the correlation coefficient or the debris tracker that can pick up debris that's being lofted by a tornado, showed it. It was only visible, the debris track was only on there for about 5 minutes, and then it dispersed just to the west of Bull Hollow in Delaware County. We did have that one, and there was another one around Tahlequah. It showed up, the debris tracker showed it a little longer as it tracked on the north side of Tahlequah. We're also starting now to get a number of photos of some pretty significant damage to some homes near the Northwest Arkansas airport, just north of that. So no, as you can see, nothing official on the map yet, but we're getting photos of some damage around there just to the west of Bentonville near the Northwest Arkansas airport. Now here's where our severe threat stands for today. We have an isolated tornado threat, and we have our isolated to scattered wind and hail risks. Again, yesterday, that scattered risk was much further northwest, so it's good that it's been pushed southeast. Now we're just trying to determine if that's going to change or if it might even be removed. Here's what future track models have been saying, again, since last night and through most of this morning. Storms at some point reinitiate southwest of us, and they should be doing so in approximately about the next hour or so, honestly. Then by about 10, they start pushing into our neck of the woods here in the northeastern Oklahoma, stretching into southwest Missouri and northwest Arkansas. If these storms come to be, then our severe threat we just showed you is going to be greatest between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. But there's also some data now suggesting that the storms we got ate up a little more energy than was expected, and these storms may not come to be. So we got to keep a close eye on that. These storms will roll through. An isolated shower storm north of that is going to be possible really at any point through the day as late as 10 o'clock tonight. Nothing severe expected with that activity, but there could be an isolated shower storm associated just north of I-44, and again, really anywhere out there. After that, things start to clear out. We go into our Thursday, and temperatures begin to heat up for us as we start climbing upper 80s, start seeing some low 90s out there as well. All right, so the sunshine, again, is one of the big factors as to whether or not we get enough warming in place, if we get enough sunshine. Joplin's kind of been struggling off and on with some of these clouds trying to thicken back up a bit. Pittsburgh, on the other hand, seeing a little more sunshine so far this morning. So again, there's a lot of variables in play. That's why we just want to be straight up honest with you here. Those storm chances, they're really up in the air at this point. The expectation is they're going to happen, but if everything doesn't come together just right, they may not. And again, that wouldn't necessarily be a bad thing, but you still want to be prepared just in case. So we're going to watch for those scattered storms. Upper 60s to start our day, low 70s by 11. We're going to have gusty west winds as well, pushing 25 miles an hour. Upper 70s through most of the day. The low 80s that we're going to hit won't actually happen really until late afternoon, early evening. And then after our last isolated storm chance is gone, partly cloudy overnight, winds are calm, back into the mid 60s, heating up again tomorrow through the weekend. Heat and humidity driven pop-up storm chances next week, and heading into the weekend, low 90s return, and as early as Friday we could start seeing heat index values anywhere from 100 to 105, so do make sure you're taking appropriate heat precautions. Let's check your forecast. We're back with more after this.
Well, this morning we have Tabitha Mackart with us this morning to share her journey as she looks towards this year's Miss Universal competition. Good morning, Tabitha. Thank you for being with us this morning.
Thank you.
Of course, happy to have you. So you are Miss Heartland Universal for 2025. Talk to me a little bit about your pageant journey and how you got this title.
Yeah, so I actually started out in California about 10 years ago is when I started my own pageant journey, and then about 4 years ago I came out to Missouri and continued to my pageant journey. So I've actually been with Universal Miss for 2 years, and I go to nationals on Saturday.
That's so exciting. So this Saturday you're going to represent the Heartland. Talk to me about why you started doing pageants and how your journey has improved your self-esteem and your confidence.
Yeah, so when I was little, I really want to be able to talk to people. So pageantry has really been able to help me with that, as well as my own nonprofit, Be Unique, which advocates for children and adults with disabilities, changing the words different and disabled to unique. So that's really what I brand myself and brand pageantry about.
Absolutely. Talk to me a little bit more about that advocacy. What do you do to advocate for those with disabilities, and what made you want to do that in the first place?
Yeah, so being someone with a physical disability, you definitely get looked at different. But again, my platform is Be Unique, so changing the different to unique, because everyone has something unique about themselves, whether you can see it or not see it. So being able to inspire others, especially young children up to adults, that they can achieve their dreams and goals no matter what they look like.
Absolutely. Well said, Tabitha. Speaking of your competition, like you mentioned, happening on Saturday, talk to me about the whole process, what the week looks like for you, and what you're most excited for.
Yeah, so the whole week will be from Sunday until Saturday. Final competition will be Friday night, so we'll be able to figure out who Universal Miss 2025 will be. The Elite 8, so 8 new queens come into play. And then we have interview, on-stage question, gown, and fun fashion. And for me, interview is my favorite part now because I get to talk about myself, my platform, and what inspires me to be in pageants.
Absolutely. And you're actually having a fundraiser this Friday for anyone who wants to come and help support you for your pageant journey. Talk to me about the details on that.
Yeah, so we're doing a car wash at the local Sonic here at Stone's Corner in Wem City. It's going to be from 12 to 6. We will extend it if we are packed or anything like that. So this helps me go to nationals, being able to be on stage with my own platform, Be Unique. I also want to thank all my supporters and sponsors. Make sure you check out my Facebook page so you can get all the sponsors links and all of that.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for being with us this morning. Good luck at Nationals. We'll be cheering you on, Tabitha.
Thank you so much.
Stick around. We'll be right back.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. It's currently 7:31. I'm Elise Snowy. Well, a Thanksgiving tradition in Joplin enters a new chapter. The Schroeder Family Explorium announced yesterday morning it has acquired the annual Joplin Turkey Trot presented by Freeman Health System. The event will still feature a 5K and 1-mile fun run on Thanksgiving morning, but it will now serve as a fundraiser for the Explorium's STEAM education programs. Organizers say proceeds will help fund hands-on exhibits, outreach, and scholarships. One area organization says there's a need for more foster families in Southeast Kansas. The Family Initiative, known as TFI, is a nonprofit that works with and provides resources for area foster families. Staff say they are seeing a need for more foster families in Southeast Kansas for area children entering the system.
We want to try to help keep kids local. And so that way they can maintain, as they were saying, like within their schools, within their resources and everything that they do know.
Some of them have went to school and got doctorate degrees and are very successful. But the ones that I think are the most successful are the ones that have kept their kids and raised a family from where they came from.
If you're interested in becoming a foster parent yourself, you can learn more about how to get started on our website, KOAMnewsnow.com. Now let's head over to Chris for a quick look at your forecast.
Continuing to clear this morning, at least for some of us, and this is an interesting view from our camera downtown Pittsburgh. All these clouds here are what's over Joplin right now. Joplin is very cloudy, it's not just straight up cloudy right now, and we're getting a view of what those clouds look like from the north, but we're getting sunshine in the Pittsburgh area. I'm going to tell you right now, I just checked the latest update because the short range models we use for day of events update typically every hour. Well, it's changed almost every hour, so there's a lot of uncertainty as to what's going to take place between now and the time we were expecting storms around 10 a.m. All right, that's what I'm talking about with those clouds. MoDOT camera 20th and Rangeline showing you that there. Right now, Skywatch Storm Tracker is pretty well clear. Got a few light showers southern Delaware County into parts of Benton County, and that is it for the moment. Now, the initial expectation was for thunderstorm development to take place somewhere in this zone in the next hour and a half or so, and then slowly begin to work its way up I-44. It may or may not happen. The update from 1 hour ago showed that that wasn't going to take place at all, and any storms we got were going to be further south. The update that just completed here recently now shows that something similar to that, but not to that same level, is going to take place. So a lot we got to keep an eye on. We're also getting, again, damage reports north of the Northwest Arkansas airport. It looks like maybe there was a weak, brief tornado down there. Outside of that, wind damage reports, Ottawa County, western Washington County, and then we had the radar-confirmed tornado that was at least briefly confirmed, about 5 minutes or so, crossing in and dissipating just west of Bull Hollow in Delaware County, and another one that rolled on the north side of Tahlequah, doing some damage down there as well. Here's our severe threat as it stands now. This update's at about 8 a.m., and it can update early, and we'll see if that happens. But we have an isolated tornado risk, and we have the isolated to scattered wind and hail risk out there as we roll through the morning and into the afternoon. Future track, this one is still sticking with the original data from this morning, and what was kind of a consistent deal since late last night, that by about 10 a.m., showers, thunderstorms coming up I-44, they bring the possibility of the strong to severe thunderstorm chances, putting that window from 10 a.m. to about 2 p.m. But again, things are changing. We got to watch it carefully. But we'll have those outside of that to the north. Isolated shower or thunderstorm chances will be possible through about 10 o'clock. No severe weather expected with anything up north. And then that will fizzle out and things will start to look much better and much hotter into the weekend. So here's the big difference. 65 Joplin, cloudy. 67 Pittsburgh, a little more sunshine out there. Temperatures, again, around the area, still kind of holding out into the mid to upper 60s for most of us. In fact, some of our low 60s, aside from Monette, starting to come up as well. Grove now up to 69, getting close to 70. Late day, so late afternoon, early evening highs into the low 80s. We'll watch those thunderstorm chances. We'll also have west winds gusting upwards of 25. Well, I've now looked at your forecast, talk about those thunderstorm chances, what may or may not happen, and then the heat that's on the way here in just a few more minutes. Lisa?
All right, Chris, thanks. And don't forget, you can be the first to know about the day's weather with the KOAM Sky Watch weather app. Get severe weather updates sent straight to your phone, free of charge. It's available in the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. And that's a look at our top news stories. Coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News, tariffs and funding cuts pose new challenges for area food banks. We'll take a look. You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. In Consumer Watch, the sun won't be the only thing making people sweat this summer as tariff uncertainty causes wallet worries for families this season. Fox News' Ted Lindner takes a closer look at how some parks are trying to keep prices low.
With summer vacation season priming up, families looking for some frugal fun may want to hit up local amusement parks instead of larger and more costly venues that may be out of state.
Castaway Cove is an amusement park on the Ocean City Boardwalk. We have 30 rides.
With the rising cost of everything, Castaway Cove is very affordable.
But ongoing disputes over tariffs on Chinese and other foreign goods have some businesses worrying over how much their supplies might wind up costing.
China has been ripping off the United States for many years.
Experts on trade say the main idea behind tariffs is to stimulate domestic production, but they can drive up prices for consumers because businesses wind up paying more to import certain goods.
Tariffs are quite simply taxes on imports. So if there's $1 million worth of goods coming in from a foreign country and the tax is 50%, they owe $500,000 in order to bring it into the country.
Many local amusement parks get their rides and supplies from overseas.
Any parts that we try to order that might come from Italy or Germany or anywhere overseas, China, from our stuffed animals that we use in our games and our cranes in our arcade.
Some local parks are adapting their strategies to save money.
So typically this warehouse would be half full, but because of the unknown with the tariffs this year, we had to go ahead and pre-purchase pretty much for the entire summer to try to beat the tariffs before they went into effect and try to save that cost so we could keep our prices down for our guests.
But there's no guarantee prices can stay down forever.
Right now, again, we're kind of eating that cost at the moment.
Ted Lindner, Fox News.
And those are our top consumer stories. Let's take a look at the market prices before the opening bell.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. It is 7:43 now on this Wednesday morning, and the Skywatch Storm Tracker We have cleared out from our storms, obviously, early this morning. What we are now waiting to see is what happens next. We're going to go over all the variables very quickly with you. We're going to talk about what the expectations are and what could hinder those expectations from coming true. And not that that would necessarily be a bad thing. So as we put everything into motion, we've got everything exiting the area. What we are watching for is any kind of development really in this zone. We've got severe thunderstorms south of Oklahoma City, and they continue out there. But as you see, they're also pushing off to the east-southeast. We're looking for anything that will develop right in this zone, right around Tulsa and points southwest, that could eventually push northeast into our area. We do want to quickly tell you also about those damage reports we've got. We had one, Ottawa County, Highway 10 and County Road 652. There was a tree down. We had some severe wind gusts reported in Newada, Washington County, and into Montgomery County, and some wind damage just to the west of Bartlesville. And of course, this morning we also had the radar confirmed tornado. So how that works is that correlation coefficient, or the debris tracker that you see, showed debris being picked up. It only was on radar for about 5 minutes, but it went from here and lifted just to the west of Bull Hollow. At least the debris signature dissipated at that point. And outside of our area, another one was out there a little longer, passed on the north side of Tahlequah and left some damage behind. We're also, again, getting reports now and getting some images of damage that's north of the Northwest Arkansas Airport to a few homes. Some of it's somewhat significant damage. It also looks like something similar to this. Like maybe there was a weak tornado on the ground for just a few minutes, but it was just enough that it did leave some damage behind. So, of course, we'll keep checking in on that, have the latest for you on the KOAM News at noon. All right, our severe weather outlook for right now. Again, this is supposed to update in about 15 minutes. Sometimes it updates early, sometimes it updates late, sometimes it updates on time, and sometimes the update there's no change and we'll never notice. But we do have an isolated tornado risk. We have the isolated to scattered wind and hail risks for later this morning, mid-morning into the afternoon. Here's what future track's looking like at this point. This is what I was talking about, that expectation of thunderstorm development somewhere down to our southwest that will eventually roll into our area by about 10 a.m. These storms, if this holds true, which there's still now some questions about that, would put our better window for any strong to severe thunderstorms between roughly 10 a.m. and say 2 or 3 p.m. And it would confine it, like the severe weather outlook showed, along into the south really of I-44. So here's those storms by noon. Out there, some of them could be strong to severe. Now, there's also some isolated showers, couple of thunderstorms possible north of this, but not anticipating any severe weather with that activity. And those little pop-up shower thunderstorm chances will remain out there, but they're going to become considerably more isolated the later we go into the evening. And then after 10, 11 at the latest, we're done. And we're going to be done with rain heading into the weekend. Instead, what we're going to be dealing with next is the temperatures really heating up as we head through the weekend as well. All right, these clouds, one of the many factors going into whether or not we'll get any additional storm development, and if we do, whether or not it will be strong or not. But we'll watch for those scattered storms, upper 60s by 8, low 70s by 11. Some of the temperatures are also going to be temperate based on who sees what kind of sunshine. But we're looking at highs in the low 80s, but not reaching those until later in the afternoon and the early evening hours. We'll have a west wind gusting to 25 out there as well. So again, we'll watch for those thunderstorm chances and we'll see what happens here. Isolated storm or two will be possible again through about 10, 11 o'clock. Then it's done. Partly cloudy overnight, back into the mid-60s. Winds will be calm. And then, like I said, the heat's on. All right, few clouds for us tomorrow. Upper 80s for most of us, some low 90s. Into the weekend and next week, low 90s. Now, starting as early as Friday, could get to that point where heat index values will be in that 100 to 105 degree range. So you need to make sure you're ready for that. We're going from the severe weather to the heat situation, so make sure you're taking precautions. Low 90s for most of next week. And you see all those little random storm chances. We're also settling into the point where it gets hot, it gets humid, and you get one of those afternoon, early evening pop-up storms. That's what we'll be settling into as we roll into next week. Let's check your forecast. We're back with more right after this.
Well, as inflation and food prices continue to rise, local food banks say meeting the needs of their area has become a bit more challenging.
And in California, at the San Diego Food Bank, they're battling not only inflation, but also funding cuts.
Inflation in San Diego County has a growing appetite. On the menu, proteins, vegetables, and the main course, San Diego residents' wallets.
We're trying to make the dollar stretch ever farther at higher costs. It's quite a conundrum, but it's one that we're always willing to face.
In May of this year, San Diego saw an almost 4% increase in inflation, surpassing the national average of about 2.5%, according to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics.
We're seeing a sustained need, and so a lot of people knew that there was need during COVID. That need is continuing, and if anything, going higher.
Brigitte Westlink is the VP of Operations and Programs. She says as costs fluctuate, the San Diego Food Bank has to make every dollar stretch, which involves buying less of certain items or changing the mix of the products they provide, all while battling cuts to government funding.
Recent cuts that we were facing is an unexpected cancellation of 25 truckloads of food from the Emergency Food Assistance Program. That included things like proteins, dairies, egg, and those 25 truckloads are equivalent to 1.5 million meals.
On the front line is Deborah Childers, who sees the impacts firsthand.
It's a huge need, and it's the working class, and they've never gone to the food banks and to pick up food at these sites before. So when they're coming, it's a complete education.
She says her organization, Feeding the Flock SD, has to increase their food distribution hours to evenings just to accommodate people who work during the day.
These are, very well-established families that now all of a sudden, because of inflation, are having to come to the food bank. So this isn't just homeless or people who are on welfare.
Certainly some challenging
Yeah,
times
absolutely.
out there, not just in California, but across the country,
Certainly
really.
so.
Well, we're going to take one more look at our severe weather risks as we head through the morning hours. And so we're still looking, at least right now, at a window from 10 a.m. to about 2 p.m., maybe 3 at the latest, where we have the isolated tornado risk and the scattered wind and hail risks out there for parts of the area. The future track is still suggesting, and data is still suggesting, at least most of it, not all of it at this point, but most of it, that here before too much longer, we're looking at thunderstorms building in northeast Oklahoma around the Tulsa area. So that's one of the changes. But eventually, by about 9:30, 10 o'clock this morning, working into our southern counties and into northeastern Oklahoma. And that's why between 10 and 2 or 3, depending on how quickly they move, that's where we're going to have that window for some additional strong to severe thunderstorms. And again, primarily along and to the south of the Interstate 44 corridor. Now, north of that, an isolated shower or storm will be possible. In fact, north of that, an isolated shower or storm will be possible from about noon until nearly 10 o'clock tonight. No severe weather is expected. And then by about 10, 11, that clears out, will start to clear out overnight, and the temperatures really start to climb as we head into our Thursday. So, of course, we'll watch those potential storm chances this morning. Otherwise, upper 60s by 8, low 70s by 11 o'clock this morning. Got another look at your forecast, news you need to know right after this.
And here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. Joplin crews respond to a gas leak after a construction contractor hit a gas line near the intersection of Chris Lane and Connecticut. Spire gas crews worked to repair the leak. One home was evacuated due to gas blowing in through open windows. Those residents have since been cleared to return. Officials report no injuries related to the gas leak. And students attending a USD 250 school in Pittsburgh will not have to worry about food during school hours. This district is participating in a federally funded program called Community Eligibility Provision. This program allows all students to have free food regardless of household income. The CEP will begin in the fall of this year. And that's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door.
And some terrific news at this point. Our severe weather outlook just updated. I'm going to take a moment. The tornado risk has been removed. And as you can see, our hail and wind risks have been dropped to the isolated category. Still in line with those possible storms this morning, but our severe threat now considerably lower, which is definitely some good news. So again, some scattered storms possible, mainly along and south of I-44, a couple isolated ones north of that. Eventually, low 80s today, gusty west winds up to 25. Then we clear out and heat up, low 90s into the weekend. By Friday, could start seeing those heat index values 100 to 105. And then with the heat and humidity next week, that's when we're going to start to enter pop-up storm seasons, those little isolated storms here and there. All right. Well, again, if any of those storms do fire up, if they
Yes.
do get severe, anything like that happens this morning, we'll certainly let you know. Otherwise, we want to thank you for joining us this morning. We'll be back with more news and weather today at noon.
Have a great rest of your morning.